Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici, welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel. And the channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. And welcome to another weekly recap. It's some very summery, hot days in Montreal finally. Are you guys enjoying the soccer or the football as the Europeans like to call it? I think it's some great world-class soccer. Regardless of the team that you cheer for, if any, the soccer is just fantastic. I'm a great fan, and I'm enjoying myself with that World Tournament. So if you guys are missing it, you're missing something, let me tell you. In any event, let's get back to pens, right? Let's get back to pens. I've got some really nice stuff to show you this week. First of all, we got the Chinese are kind of moving a little bit, so I've got some novelties there to show you. In addition to that, one of our kind co-viewers of my channel decided that he would gift the channel a bunch of paper and a bunch of notebooks. I'm going to show you what he sent me. I was really surprised. It was a huge package. There's all kinds of goodies there. I'll show you what those goodies are. We've got some inks to propose for you. They're not brand new inks. They're inks I've had in my collection for some time, but I thought I'd bring them out again. It's been some time that I've inked any pens with those 3 inks from Sailor. So there you have it. We're going to revisit some pens, and I'm going to take out some of the first Jinao pens that I've ever that I bought maybe many years ago. We'll take a look at that as well. And I've got an interesting weapons for next week's segment as well. We'll take a look at some YouTube reviews, take a look at what you on my channel, and we'll have some fun for an hour and a half. Everything is time-stamped. Please feel free to choose whatever is of interest to you. And without any further ado, Fountain Pen Therapy presents its weekly recap for July the 12th, 2026, folks. We're in the middle of beautiful summer. Okay, so we're back for the first segment, which is market news. What have we got for you? Well, let's take a look. First, Chinese market, and then we'll go visit some other retailers. So let me go to right away to my computer. Okay, AliExpress, what do we got for you? I've got this interesting looking pen. I don't know what to make of it. It doesn't appear to have a brand name, but what caught my attention is that it has a YOIUTUBE nib. It's kind of they describe it as a high-end brushed metal pen. I thought I'd show that to you. The only reason why it's catching my attention is really because of that YOIUTUBE nib. So I'm wondering what it's all about. Then what have I got? Remember this pen? I showed you the red version of this pen. It's only $21 Canadian. It has that spinner at the end of the end finial. What I found interesting is I've discovered it comes in other colors. I really like the pen. I'm really fond of this blue and this one of these greens. And maybe at $21, I might just make the jump and order the blue and the green. Thought I'd show that to you. Of course, we have the brand new Majohn B32. It's in the pipeline. I was hoping to have received it by now. It's still on its way, maybe at the doorstep any minute now. The same goes for the YOIUTUBE. It's probably in the same package. Looking forward to it. I've got to tell you, I'm doing this for the channel. I'm not very fond of the Pilot E95S. I think it's an overrated pen. So I don't know what to make of these. But, you know, they're interesting pens nonetheless, and interesting comparison of very good prices. We'll take a look at that and compare it to the real thing. And actually, one is a Mont Blanc imitation. The other one is a Pilot imitation. But this kind of pen doesn't excite me. But having said that, let's take a look when we get them, right? Next, Casa della Stilografica. Take a look at this picture. It is just fabulous. Delta's come out with this Odyssey pen. Take a look at the colors. It looks like they're developing this new center band with the 4 rings and with resin in between. Really interesting stuff. It's a little expensive. It's about $700 Canadian, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, why don't we click here? See where it takes us. Yeah, no, actually 729 euros. So it's about $1,000 Canadian because it has a gold nib. I'm hoping that Delta does come up with the steel nib because it's intriguing me. Next, Goulet pens. They have 2 offerings for the Magna Carta Mag 600 with the steel nib. This purple, I like this black because it's just more of a vintage look. Simple but vintagey. I'm still suspect here. I'm still on the fence as to whether I'm going to get this 600S. I do have the 600 in gold. And from what I understand, the performance of the nibs are very similar. And they're wet noodles. So I'm not sure that I'm going to spend $275 US on this pen. Not a priority for the time being. What else have I got for you? Yes. I'd rather spend my money on this. This is the Leonardo Momento Zero Radici. I really like this resin. It takes us back to kind of a vintagey look. The only I guess drawback here is that we're dealing with the smaller version of the Momento Zero. It's the standard small version as opposed to the Momento Zero Grande. Would have been nice if this was available in the Grande size, but maybe we'll wait and see. It is going for $202 US with the steel nib, so an excellent price. It's really, really tempting me. Last but not least, TWSBI Echo has come out with the Year of the Horse special edition pen. My understanding it's going like hotcakes, so if you're interested in adding this to your collection, take a look at this. Roughly on Goulet pens, it's roughly $55 or $56 US. Teresa Harris has done a review of this pen. I agree with her. I would have preferred that white trimmings and the white cap be a different color. Would have been exciting if we had kind of a red gold combination, but that's not the case. Frankly, folks, I'm not sure that I would go for this pen. I have enough TWSBI Echoes, and the trimming with the Year of the Horse decorative design doesn't intrigue me. But you know, to each his own, right? So there you have it. That's market news, at least some pens that have attracted my attention. So what we'll do is we'll prepare for the next segment. Let's see what Fountain Pen Therapy Studios have in store for you this week. Be right back. Okay, so we're back. Let's see what we have in the Fountain Pen Studios this week. First of all, we'll start with paper. And let me tell you, folks, lots of paper. I'd like to thank Dion Singer, one of our co-viewers, who sent me a big package. I think it comes from California, if I understand his letter to me. And Dion, thank you very, very much. Very generous of you. And folks, let me show you what he sent me. And he sent me also all kinds of little anecdotes about a site where you've seen all kinds of products from Crena. But it's still difficult to figure out how to purchase these products. he has some ideas in the letter he's written to me, and maybe I will share that with you. But before we do that, why don't we start with the paper he sent me, okay? Go to my overhead camera. It's a big stack all here. It all started with this little thing. I didn't think it was this kind of an A6 size, but when you go on the Crena store in Taobao, or I think even Superbuy has it, I forget now, but it's certainly there in Taobao and perhaps even Superbuy. There's a particular store called the Crena Stationery Store, I believe it is. And I saw this. It looked like a bigger A5 size. They call it the Stamp Collection Book, and it's fairly thick, and it has designed by Crena. And so I was curious about this, and I mentioned in one of my recaps. And so he then wrote to me and said, you know, I don't waste your time buying this thing, because it's very, apparently it's meant to I guess, to collect your stamps and not meant to write on. I'm going to take a look at this in a few seconds. So it started with that. He says, if you want, I can send it to you. And then I said, yeah, sure. And then we corresponded. And before I knew it, I got this package. So that's the first thing in this package, nicely wrapped. Well, take a look at that. I'm curious to see what kind of paper is in there. So that's number one. He then he bought a bunch of loose sheets of Star Rainbow, a 52 GSM. It's A5 size, white. And he calls it version 1. Apparently there is a version 1 and a version 2 of that Star Rainbow Crena paper. Dion, if you know, I'm just curious whether or not, because this has become my favorite these days, and this is the one that won the challenge, if you will, as the best alternative to Tomoe River paper number 7 original. Wondering is this version 1 or version 2 that we have? Because if this is version 1 and version 2 is touted to be even better, wow, I'm really curious to see what that version 2 looks like. I'll show you some notebooks in a second that he sent me some screenshots as well. So look at this. I mean, beautifully, nicely wrapped. We might do some actually swatching with this version 1, and maybe we'll compare it to that notebook just to see where we're at. So that's another very nice of him. He threw in a couple of these. These I love, by the way. I mean, I fell in love with Traveler's Notebook because of this. It's Crena products. I have a few. I've ordered more, and he threw in a couple of more. This is the grid, and this is the ruled version for my Traveler's Notebook that I finally purchased. I purchased, the leather binding, etc. And because of this paper, I'm now going to be using that as well. And I think I found some use for it. So he threw in that. He threw in some Crena 52 GSM as well. I'm not sure whether, I think he mentions, some say, let me see if he mentions whether or not that is, I bought some extra Star Rainbow 52 GSM, so I enclose a brick for you. I'm not sure if this is, I bought a package of A4 Star Rainbow sheets. We'll take a look at that. So I'm not sure if this is version 1 or 2, but he bought, it says Star Rainbow here. I'm not sure whether this is version 1 or 2, and maybe if he's watching, you'll let me know. But I threw in, and this is meant to accommodate, kind of binder notebooks, like the one I have here. And I'm thinking that maybe I'll throw it in here. And I think I've ordered more of this as well. So I'll probably buy another one of this, and it'll fit in here, and it'll be kind of another notebook, which is always handy. At the same time, he threw in a bunch of Cosmo Airlight A5 sheets. Let's not forget that Cosmo Airlight is no longer around. I think he purchased the same thing I did, because I have a pack of this as well. But look at this. That's nice of him. And this Cosmo Airlight paper, after all, was pretty popular and was good paper. So, and he's trying to figure out a way to make notepads and notebooks with this by gluing, etc. I don't think I'm, technically able to do that. But look, it's maybe it's another project of mine. He threw in these Albonici freelance notebooks. I have a bunch of these as well. And again, it's difficult to say whether or not we're dealing with an old batch of Sanson that is garbage, or this the new Sanson, or maybe this may even be the original. But this is always appreciated. I use these notebooks fairly often. And then he said these are A4. He threw in a bunch of sheets, loose sheets of A4 Crena Star Rainbow, which is really, really kind of him. So as you can see, there's quite a bit here. I think what I'm curious about is I'm going to take a couple of these sheets and we're going to do some swatching on this and compare it perhaps to my Crena notebook, just to see what kind of results I have. Maybe I'll throw in, I only have 3 inks, maybe I'll do a swatch on this paper as well, so we can compare all these Crena products. Okay, but before we do that, I'm curious. I want to just dive into this little gem here. It looks very interesting, but according to Dieman, it's not meant to be written on. So we shall take a look, which is too bad. Nice and thick, I can tell you. It's not a thin A6 size notebook. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's almost like onion skin paper. I don't think you can write on this without doing any damage. You know, why don't we, just for the fun of it, why don't we write something here? What pen should I use? Let me use my Montblanc 149, which is nice and handy. It's going to form part of my Pens Revisited. So this is Crena stamp book. Well, there's no feathering. I can tell you that. Take a look at that. Let me just close up. Very nice. But of course, it probably goes right through. Yeah, this is essentially, I think, onion skin paper. So it's not meant to write on, but it could be still interesting. I have a onion skin paper notebook that once in a while I'm very curious, and I write in it. It writes very nicely. Yes, if you think Tomoe River is bad, this is completely unusable on the other side. So you're essentially using only one side, but still, that's not bad at all, actually. It writes smooth. Very nice writing experience on this thing, but there you have it. I was curious. So if any of you saw this and thinking that maybe you could use it as a notebook, buyer beware, limited use here. It's really a stamp collection notebook, if you will. Thank you, Dieman, for that. Thank you very, very much. So we've taken a look at that. Now, what else I want to show you? Yeah, he's thrown in, let me jump to my, computer. Let me see here. Okay, cut. We're going to my computer. He's taken these screenshots from a site that is referred to as Red Note. And it's kind of an Instagram sort of a situation. And he's taken, look at these notebooks. This is Crena. This is a huge notebook. I've gone too quickly. One page at a time. Take a look at that, folks. I mean, that is huge. That is, and it's referred to as Crena's Seriously Amazing 2.0 Star Rainbow Paper. So it looks like there's a 2.0. Now, where do we get these is the question. Take a look at that. These are huge products. You have another one here, Amazing Pad I12. I don't know what that means. Again, it's referred to as Amazing 2.0 Star Rainbow Paper. In this very, very thick. It's got that beautiful grid graph that I enjoy. This product I've seen, I think this is the product that is sold on So&So, and it's Spark paper, which is not my favorite. But there again, you see this other 2 or 3, but this may be size A5 size. The one I have is a small Yeah, it says A5 notebook. I haven't seen these on sale anywhere. And he mentions that, he says, from what I gathered, there is some kind of a timed lottery to buy them. So I'm sure they will make their way into Main Street sites eventually. Some say Star Rainbow 1.0 or now 2.0. So that is interesting. I'm going to keep looking at it, looking out for that, because, and look at that, it just shows the binding. It's huge. Any event. So there you have it. Crena on this channel right now. We're going crazy with Crena. I'm going to, do a deep dive on all these products that he sent me. I haven't done it yet. And do some more research on this site by the name of Red Note. If any of you have seen anything, know of anything, know if we can get our hands on those thick notebooks that we just pictured or shown on the screen, please let us know. How does Red Note work? And will they find themselves eventually into mainstream sites like Taobao and I believe it's Superbuy. For those of you who don't have access to Taobao, Superbuy, I think, has the store, the Crena store. But there you have it. Just more information. It's a great paper. But if we don't make it available to everyone, then I may be spinning my wheels here. And I'm just hoping that that store doesn't suddenly switch off and then we don't see these products ever again, which would be seriously unfortunate. Trying to convince people, like Blake's broadcast, I sent them an email, take a look at Crena, never answered. Sterling Inc. is not interested. I've sent also an email to Danica58 saying, look, you may be interested in Crena, see if you can get it in. Inkforge Works, that sent me that ink, is working on some kind of a supply with Crena directly, or Crena paper distributors. We'll keep a lookout on Inkforge as well. But it looks like slowly it's penetrating into the market, and hopefully it will become mainstream product because it's just wonderful. So there you have it. That's the paper segment for this week. Enough talking. Let's do some swatching. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're all set to do some swatching. Here are the inks that I propose. They're the Manyo ink. I have a kind of a dark blue Tsuyu. I have a green, which is Ishi, and I have kind of a red brownish color Yu. I don't believe that these are the chromatic, I think is the expression, those very light inks. These are a little bit more standard colored inks. That chromachrome, is it chromachrome? I forget the expression. I know one of the viewers corrected me on that last week. But you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about those very light inks that offer some very nice shading, but come down really light. I just don't, they're not my cup of tea. I know a lot of you enjoy those inks, but I just, it's not for me. I need something a little more intense. Beautiful bottles, by the way. It's Sailor, good product, very nice. You take a look at these products and you put them on your desk and you say, wow, really nice. So we only got 3 because we got quite a bit of swatching to do. So this is that paper that Dion sent me, loose sheets, referred to as version 1 of Star Rainbow. This is that notebook, the book notebook that kind of won the challenge, if you will. It's called Diary. Free day. There's no dates on it, and those are those traveler notebook sized that he threw in and that I have already blank. I've done already some swatching on them, so we can take a look at that and see and just compare, and eventually we can draw some conclusions. Hopefully, we shall see. Okay, so let's get going. My usual tools: my folded pen, along with my Eureka dip pen, okay? I got my cloth here. We'll start with the blue. So the blue one is referred to as tsuyu. And I may not be pronouncing that right. I don't think it's a shimmering ink, so I don't have to really agitate it too much. Okay, let's try to do this properly, Vince. Oh yeah, that's a nice dark. I can tell you that the surface tension on that swatch is pretty intense, which I don't feel on this. So I can tell you just from that quick swatch that the notebook is much smoother. And this one is just as smooth. So very, very textured here, but not in the other two. So we may be looking at in the two notebooks to version 2, which is good news because it's supposed to be much better. We'll take a look at you can see the line here is going horizontally and here is going vertically. So the grain, so this must be, A4 paper cut in half, and then when you turn it around, that's why the grain goes the other way. Now, does that affect the smoothness of the swatch? Well, we'll take a look. Let me do with the green, and the green is referred to as ishi. Yeah, I can feel quite a bit of tension there, I can tell you, which I don't feel on this paper. Nor do I feel it here. This is quite smooth. So that's ishi. And then I haven't been doing any writing, have I? Which is not right. So let me just start all over again here. Do this one at least properly. Yeah, I can feel some tension. Very smooth on these two. Now, what I propose is that I turn this around because if the grain is meant to be written this way, I might get a very different sensation when I do the swatching. So why don't we do the red this way? No, I'm getting the same tension. It's struggling, if you know what I mean. The writing is not. So this is, we'll identify it as, what is the red again? Yui, is it? Or Yi? I can't read it, it's too small. Oh, it's just U, sunset. So U, from what I gather, the translation is sunset. So we'll do U, sunset. Yeah, smooth writing. Let's see how this one writes. Yeah, oh no, it's not the same thing. Not at all. Absolutely not. So I won't do any writing on those. I'm just going to maybe go back and write with the other two inks. Go back since I forgot to do the required writing just to see how it feels. This is the green, which is referred to as the ishi, pebble. That's going to be sloppy. Ishi pebble. Yeah. That's the Crena that I know and love. Very smooth. Sorry about the handwriting. It's just... Although this is really nice, this Eureka dip pen, it's still a dip pen. So it's not like writing with a fountain pen, obviously. Although I got to tell you, it's probably the one that comes the closest. And this is the blue, which is YOIUTUBE, which means dew. So let me just... Dew. I don't know if I'm going to be able to write there. I won't. I'm going to get ink all over the place. Sorry about that. That was sloppy of me. I was so excited about doing the swatches that I forgot about what I should have done. I will write it in once they dry up, so I don't mess up the whole sheet there. But there you have it. So what we'll do is we're going to take a little break, make sure that all of these swatches dry out. We'll fill out the rest here as well, and we'll draw some conclusions. I'll be right back. Okay, so the inks are dry, and I've just filled in the names. And you can see that on this Crena, which appears to be version 1, you're getting some sheen there. You see on the blue, you're getting some gold sheen. On the green, you're getting some slight reddish tones there that are coming out. And then on the reddish brown, you're getting some nice shading with some darker brown sheen as well. Same thing on the what looks like a new and improved version. A little more gold, I would say, in both of these, which appear, based on the writing experience, to be the new and improved version 2. The same goes with the green, although here I see a little more red. The red sheen is a little more pronounced, at least in the contours. And in the brown, you're getting a very similar result, although the brown sheen here is kind of reflective, almost like gold tones there as well. In terms of the other side, as you can see, it does penetrate. There is a fairly thin paper. They're all 52 GSM. The ghosting is quite controllable, actually, but we'll do more writing with these inks. You can see a little more ghosting there. As far as this version of Crena, very little ghosting actually, but similar penetration of the swatches themselves. You're still getting that crinkly result of the paper, which is typical of Tomoe River as well. So there's nothing new there, and there you can see that. So there, the 3 version of this Crena paper Star Rainbow for your enjoyment. There you have it. Stay tuned for the next segment. Okay, we're back with the pen haul. Here are the pens and maybe nibs that I'd like to feature this week and that I've received. I did receive as you know, I published a video reviewing the X169, and in that video I had received this red version. I think they call it Volcano Red, and that matte black as well, which is this one, and we will revisit both in the revisited section, okay? And I promised that I would get back to you with the blue version. I had not received it in time before the publication of that video, but here it is. Just to show you, it does have a similar kind of swirling as the red Volcano Red. So there you have it. It's a very nice blue, very nice pen. I got to tell you, I played around with the 169, and the other two are fine and extra fine. This is a medium, so I'm most anxious to ink this and try it out as well. And maybe we will, we will ink it with this blue Dew or Tsuyu Manyo Sailor ink. and see how that, I think it's going to be a nice match, especially with these kind of swirls in there. But very nice. It comes, it's got a silver trimming as opposed to the gold trimming that we see on the red one. And it's got a silver, completely silver coated or colored medium Jinao nib, standard number 8 size steel. So that's the first pen I have for you. The next one is, I'm not going to do any writing with this. This is a sneak peek. This is the brand new Majohn that has just come out. Sorry, I had to check. Forgotten what the number was. It's the new Majohn N15. Take a look at the resin. Just a nice resin. I like this color. There's kind of a blue. There's blue in there. There's some gray. There's some green. There's even a little bit of touch of kind of gold or orange there. I like this. There you have it there as well. Nice chatoyancy and depth. And of course, this is a double nibbed pen. You have, I like the section. In fact, it goes all the way in. You can kind of see it right there. So you've got a, well, it's not, I don't think it's glass. I think it's plastic, but it's meant to be like so it's a dip pen, I guess. Now, to what extent can I just use this dip pen? I suppose I can. Or is it this, because I don't see there being, I'm not sure that the ink that's in here, that we'll be filling in here, will penetrate through. I think this is meant to be a dip pen, and that is meant to be just the reservoir for the normal nib, and nice enough for them to put the Majohn Flex nib in this pen. So this should be nice. But look, stay tuned. I will do some writing with this pen, and we'll check it out, and then probably do a review. I know I've got other reviews standby, but I know you guys are most anxious to see the new products. So I may very well, if I have the time, publish a review of this pen next Wednesday, if you will. But there you have it, the Majohn N15. You know, so far so good. We shall see. What else have I got for you? Well, these are two familiar pens. These are both the P136, Majohn P136. But what's special about them is that I've put in the two nibs that I received from Majohn, not from Majohn, in AliExpress, but Majohn. These are Majohn Flex nibs, both in that blue and in that black. And I was curious to see whether or not they had a similar writing experience to the silver and gold versions of those nibs. Sometimes, you know, when you coat them with a different color, they take on a completely different characteristics. And we shall see. I've inked them up both, and we shall see whether or not they perform in a similar fashion. So far, my conclusion has been with these flex nibs that there's really not a lot of consistency. It's varied. The viewers have also mentioned that some versions of this flex nib appear to be a little more flexy than others. So, you know, it's not all the same. But regardless, I think they're all very good writing experiences per se. It's just that some have a little more spring than others. We shall see how these perform, and we'll do some writing sample right out of after we've completed this segment. So there you have it. Those are the pens for this week's pen haul. We'll do some writing. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. We're going to do some writing. Now, with regard to this medium of this X169, what I propose is I'm going to write with this pen in my revisited section, because then we'll be able to compare the Volcano Red, which is a fine, the Matte Black, which is an extra fine, in this medium. So stay tuned for that. What we will concentrate on in the writing here is we're going to compare all these nibs, okay? All these flex nibs with the different variations of color. This is the C5, and that's the gold. So let's take a look at this. This will be Flex Majohn nib comparison. Okay, this is the Majohn C5, and it has a gold, and we'll understand each other, gold colored, I guess it would be the, or plated, okay, and fairly springy. As you can see, it's giving me quite a bit of line variation. And for those of you who are good at this, you can probably really feel the difference. So that's the gold. I have the silver in this T, I guess this is the TI 136 they call it, or the P136 blue, I forget now. So this is the Majohn, not the TI, it's the Majohn P136. We're just going to blue. Again, very similar. Some feedback. And as you can see, and again, I'm not great at this, but you can see the line variation is very similar to the gold one. Now, the two new ones that I've just purchased, let's do this one. This one is the blue version, okay? So this is the Majohn, wow, this is fairly stiff. P136, I guess we'll call it burgundy. I don't feel the same spring. Yeah, and I think you really have to know what you're doing to get the required line variation. It's a little more rigid, I would say to you. So, you know, for those of you who can do this slowly and perhaps you'll get more success, it kind of springs back a lot more. But I'm getting more line variation, simple writing with the gold and the silver than I am with this black version or with this blue version. Sometimes it's also a function of how the feed is fit in. I noticed that the feed here fits in right to the top. You see the tip there? Whereas we'll compare it to the black coated version, and again, you see the feed doesn't quite go as high, and the result is, and I've written with this before, is that wow, am I getting a lot of spring here, even more than the gold. So this is the P136 black. I guess because it has a little more movement on top there, it's giving me more springiness and more bounce and more line variation than all of them. So maybe that's what makes the difference, is how deep is that feed? Does it leave any? You can see I'm opening up the tines there quite a bit. It opens up. Now, is it a function of the feed? I'm not sure because I'm pushing away from the feed. So it really, the nib has to be a little bouncier, I would say. But there you have a comparison. So I'm not sure you can draw any, major major conclusions as to whether or not, one coating is springier than the other, but I thought I share that with you. So there you have it. Now we've got all the different colored flex Majohn nibs, and I'm not sure there's any firm conclusions that can be drawn. They're all wonderful. I think for the price, I'm going to buy a bunch of them and replace a lot of my nibs with that nib. There you have it. Stay tuned for the next segment. Okay, so we're back with the Pens Revisited segment, and I thought, given that we're going to take a look at that new X169 from Jinhao, I thought I'd show you my collection of the X or the 159s. These are pens that I bought, oh my God, maybe a decade ago. These are the original 159s from Jinhao, which were like, supposed to be kind of, clones of the 149, the Mont Blanc, but very heavy. They had these very stiff, fine nibs, which were okay, but weren't great. And I replaced all the nibs with kind of stubs. And what we're going to do is we're going to ink this green one with that Manyo green ink, and this orange one with that brown, reddish terracotta sailor ink in a second. But I thought I'd show you that it's not even in my regular pen cabinets. It's in the, where I put the pens that I kind of buried for some time. But we will take these two out because we're going to do some writing with them and put the rest aside. Okay, back with Pens Revisited. Now, what I thought I'd do is I thought I'd kind of do some writing on this Crena Star Rainbow, which appears to be a version 1 that we just looked at, the swatching, that I don't think had very similar writing experience, or swatching experience anyway. But let's see how it writes. This is the Jinhao X169 in that black matte finish, and it has an extra fine nib, which was very juicy, based on the last time I wrote with this pen. So this is the Jinhao X169, and this is extra fine, and it's in the black matte. I sensed a little bit of friction there. I was fighting with the paper. Let me see what this gives. Yeah, no comparison. Oh yeah, this is so much smoother. Yeah, there's definitely a major difference between that one, this version 1, and this, what appears, I'm hoping anyway, it looks like anyway, the new and improved version 2. So we're not even going to waste our time with the other one, frankly. So this is the extra fine, which for an extra fine is fairly juicy. The nib even has a little bit of a bounce, just a slight, which is not a typical characteristic of Jinhao nibs. Usually they're stiff as a nail. Okay, this is the, I hope they're still right here. Yes, they do. This is the Jinhao X169, and this is the fine in Volcano Red. It's just such a nice pen for under $20. It's a no-brainer, folks. I mean, I would get them all. This has got to be, it's going to be a runner-up for the pen of the year. I can tell you that, or Chinese pen of the year. Well, so far there are not that many. Now this is the brand new the brand new medium that I just got. Now, we've seen these nibs before, but sometimes, over time, things change. Yeah, very, very smooth and wet. And this is, what do they call it? Glacier Blue. As medium looking that fine is, you can see that this medium is definitely a thicker line. So without saying that it's broad, we're almost there. So I think all of these nibs, if you like juicier, wetter nibs, they're performing that way. I can tell you that much. They're all 10 on 10 for me. I really like these pens. Very nice. Which brings us to kind of revisit the 159, this heavy clunker. And I've got stub nibs in there, and maybe we'll take a look at how that Sunset U ink with this one. Let's see if it writes. So this is the Jinhao. Whoa. Okay, I just inked it. So it's got some baby's bottom there. Jinhao 159. I think I pushed it too much. Orange. And it's got a Goulet. No, Edison. Yeah. It's got an Edison YOIUTUBE 1.5, and it's got that Manyo Sunset ink. Nice. That brown terracotta is a nice red, or reddish brown. This is the green, which is the Ishi, or the Pebble. This has a Goulet Pens 1.1 stub. At a time purchased when Goulet was still delivering to Quebec, Canada, but last time I checked, they were no longer delivering here. Jinhao 159 light green. And I could see it leaking a little bit because I'm pushing too much. I do have a tendency to do that. Some of the viewers pointed that out. So this has a Goulet 1.1 YOIUTUBE stub. And the ink is the Manyo Pebble. There you have it. Very nice. You know what? Very cheap. Didn't pay that much. You change the nibs if you don't like those. And one of the things with these pens, you can swap the nibs fairly easily. I think they accept most standard nibs. It's a cartridge converter. I find the converter is a little weak in terms of when you ink them up. They don't give you a maximum pull up of the ink. But you can put shimmering inks in here and not have to worry about damaging the pen. I don't recall if they have a good dry nib issue. As a matter of fact, I did nib. One second. I inked this pen last week and I haven't used it. Let's just see if it dried up on me. So this is the Jinhao. Well, starting to. Yeah, you see it kind of dried up on me. Now, just in case it's the ink, I had inked up this one as well, this black version. Okay, let's just see how this one writes. Yeah, you see, So within a week, now wait a minute, did I ink this one? Yes, I did. You see, within a week, they're both dry. So we'll revisit the other ones and see if we can blame it on the ink or not. And then, of course, all of this leads me to kind of resurrect or revisit the pen that these pens are meant to, or what inspired all these Jinal pens, which is this beautiful Mont Blanc 149. I don't care what anybody says. It is I think it's overpriced and overhyped. It's still a nice pen. It's an icon. So this is the Mont Blanc. Take a look at that, folks. Mont Blanc 149. And this has a medium nib that writes juicy and wet and almost like a broad. And you know what? I pull this pen out. Every time I pull it out, if it has ink, it just writes. Just writes. Not a problem. Is it as smooth as the 169s that we've just done? Much smoother. There's a difference. Gold nib. Recommend you get one, but don't buy a brand new one. There are plenty. I noticed that on the website Invaluable, which is a kind of an auction site, these things are going for anywhere between starting bids, 150, 200. There's tons of them. You bid and you hope that nobody bids against you. I picked one up recently. I got a surprise for you coming. In fact, I'm hoping it comes before this video ends. If not, we'll show it to you next week, which I think is gorgeous. But we'll reserve that surprise for next week. So there you have it, the original 149 that has inspired many, many, many pens. And you know what? Their patent over the design, from what I understand, is expired. So they're free. It's free game. Not Meisterstück, not the emblem on top or that branding. No, that's copyrighted and still subject to intellectual property protection. But from what I understand, the design itself, the patent is expired. So, so long as people don't pass themselves off as Mont Blanc Meisterstück originals, the design can be copied. That's my understanding anyway. So there you have it. That's Pens Revisited for this week, folks. Some beautiful pens there. Certainly I'm very pleased with the 169. I think it's a hit, at least in my book. It's a pen worth purchasing, especially when it only will cost you something less than $20, depending on the vendor. And you got some choice in terms of colors. I think the other 169s that have a slimmer center band may in fact be number 6 nibs as opposed to number 8 nibs. So look out for that. I haven't ordered those, but I have a suspicion, and some of you may want to confirm that to us, that the ones that have a slimmer band, and they come both in black and silver and black and gold, may be number 6 nibs. So be careful with that, okay? There you have it. Pens Revisited. Be right back with the next segment. Okay, we're back with the pens or the weapons for next week. I was inspired by this new offering from that we will review this week, kind of another demonstrator pen. And so what I decided to do is take a look at all my Majohn demos, demonstrator or clear or semi-clear pens, along with this pen BBS, kind of a double barrel pen similar to the new Majohn. And those will be my weapons for next week. So why don't we do some writing? Pull out my Crena notebook. Now, some of these pens might not write the way I would like them to write. They've been around for a while in terms of not, non-use, and it's a good idea that I went to them just so that I could kind of, bring them back to life, so to speak. This is so we're going to call this the Majohn Demos. And it's going to be weapons. And that will be for the week of the 12th of July 2026, just so I can keep track. By the way, the ink I put in here is that green Pebble Manyo ink. So this is the Majohn S5, although I've seen it having a different number, but I believe it's the S5. You can see it's got a small number 5 size nib. It's a Moonman nib. It's an eyedropper. If you use this pen regularly, it really seals really nicely. But if you don't, of course, then you get into trouble because the ink starts to crust out. Kind of a very nice nib. By the way, that green Manyo Pebble ink is really, really nice. I'm going to leave it out. I think I always want a green ink. Forgot I had it, and glad that's another ink that we revisited. This is another demonstrator. This is the Majohn. And here again, I've seen it different name or numbers, but I believe it's the M2. And the ink I put in here, although there was probably traces of other ink, is that Manyo Do. Okay, so very nice. Yeah, I should mention Manyo Do. And this is a number 5 size nib, and so is this one. There you have it. Nice. One of my favorite pens that I never use, mind you. This is the test tube pen. People have criticized what's the purpose of having this long tube. Well, you can ask the same of Diplomat. I think Diplomat has a similar pen. Forget that the exact was it not the Nexus, but I forget the name of the pen. So this is the Majohn they call it the Majohn V1. This one has a mixture of whatever ink was in there before, and again that Do ink. You can see that it has a little bit of a lighter blue than this one, just because I think it had a Konpeki ink before that. This is the nib I've replaced with a Chinese pen or Bobby pen 07 stub. You see that? So this has got a Bobby nib. It's got a number 7 and number 5, I should say, but it's a 0.7. So just a kind of a medium, but it's a stub. Very nice. Next, what do we have? Okay, this is the C1. These things are work horses. Let's see if it writes. It was kind of leaking because I just inked it. But Majohn, here we go. So this is the Majohn, what did we say? C1. And it's got probably Yamabudo in there. But it's got a nib. It's supposed to be a flex nib by Osprey. You can see the slit in that nib, but it doesn't flex very much. I mean, I have to really push it. It's fairly stiff. Not really. But it is otherwise a very pleasant nib. Writes very nicely, thank you. Okay, let's go to the other side. Let's push that aside a little bit. Okay, so that's the C1. Now we get into the ones that I use regularly. This is the Majohn C40. It's got a number 6 steel, and it's a Moonman nib, or Majohn nib. And I believe it's a medium. It's writing like a medium anyway. Yes, it's a medium. The ink is that Manyo Sunset. Now, again, well, we'll show one more pen before we... This is the C5? One of my favorite pens. And it's got a flex nib. So, Majohn C5. And it's got a number 6 steel Moonman flex. Keep repeating this to whenever I use one of these Majohn pens that have these funny looking clips, and a lot of people have said, what is the purpose of that? Well, the purpose is that those clips really are their logo. It's the Moonman logo, or the Majohn logo. And it's, you know, I don't think it's really meant to serve as a clip per se, although it can. More of a roller stop than anything else. But if you're wondering why would you want to put something like this, I think it's a beautiful design. And it's the Moonman. I think you can see it on one of these nibs. In fact, is it this one that you could see the same? Let me just see. It's not that clear, but you could see that, you know, kind of a triangle with a dot at the bottom. So it's supposed to kind of be the same thing. So that's the reason for it, I think. And frankly, I don't mind it at all. This pen is beautiful. Kind of inspired by the Nettuno 1911 and an Ancora vintage pen that I have that has these 3 bands. But very nice pen. Next one, this is kind of a semi-demo. Kind of red. It's the, you know, homage to the OMAS 360. This is the Majohn V60. And we'll call it the red demo. It's got a number 6 steel Moonman. Medium nib. Forget the ink. Got to tell you, it's a good imitation of the OMAS 360. I got a few of the originals, and I think this is not better made, but a little more solid. Those OMAS originals they feel a little more fragile than this. I don't know. You're afraid to play around with them. They're almost look like they're going to break on you. You know, they're still beautiful pens because of their nibs, of course. This is probably, you know, their best pen yet, I would say. This is the Majohn Haven't written with this in a while. P140 demo. And it's got the Majohn Juicy number 8 steel. Medium nib that writes like a broad. Is this the new version? I don't think so. This is the old, because they do have a new number 8 nib. It's not the new engraving. It's the old stamping. Medium. One of my favorite pens. What a beautiful pen. Reasonably priced. Then I have this, which is kind of similar to that new Majohn we just showed. It has a double barrel, but it doesn't have a, I think originally it came with a rollerball end, okay? I've kind of replaced it with two nibs, if you will. Hard time getting the ink down to its nib, though, I can tell you. I've been waiting for a while, and let's see if it writes. Yeah, it's not there yet. And this thing's been, you know, this way for a while. And of course, you don't know which side to put it down, because if you put one, then the other one doesn't. That's why it was meant to be used with, I think, with a roller ball. This one, I think the ink is kind of penetrated. So this is the pen BBS. And I believe it's the number 469. Blue swirl or something like that. Double. And I just have a simple, a standard pen BBS fine there. That's got that nice little tipping. I don't know if you can see it. It makes those nibs really nice. So it's a number 6. Number 6, steel. And it's a pen BBS. Standard. Fine. There you have it. So those are going to be the pens or the weapons, along with that new Majohn. I think I'm gonna play around with it all week, and we'll kind of revisit it. Well, we'll see it in the review if I have the time to do it this week, and if I do review it, you'll see it also probably next week in the revisit, so I can just come back to it and let you know whether or not there's anything else that I discovered about the pen once I've had the chance to write with it for a little while longer. Weapons for next week, folks. There they are, the Majohn Demonstrator Collection. And one Pen BBS double barrel pen, 469. Be right back with the next segment. Okay, so we're back with the last segment of the recap, which is YouTube reviews. Well, I have 3 reviews from three other YouTubers in our community, which I think are fun. First of all, I mentioned Teresa Harris has reviewed that TWSBI Echo Year of the Horse Special Edition. Take a look at that video. If it's not a detailed video on the pen, since we all know what TWSBI Echo has to offer, it's more to demonstrate to you live and up close what that pen looks like. So if you're wondering about or thinking about ordering the pen, take a look at that video. Very informative. Secondly, I found this video from Wonders Unlocked. He ordered a pen from ShackMD, friend of mine, YouTuber, pen enthusiast. I don't see videos from him reviewing pens anymore. I think he's gone on a different tangent. He's now, making nibs. It's just incredible. The nibs he's making are just outlandish. One more outlandish than the other, and in the positive way. And Wonders Unlocked purchased one or received one, a flex nib, kind of a double layered one, and he demonstrates to you how how juicy that pen is. I think it goes from, or that nib is, I think it goes from like extra fine to triple, quadruple broad. It's just incredible. If you're interested in flex nibs, take a look at that video. A lot of fun. And last but not least, my friend Matthew at the Wet Pen has produced 4 more inks. Yeah, he's into inks these days. At least he's been for a year or two now. Purchased all of his inks sold to date, and he's got 4 more to offer. It's gorgeous inks, gorgeous bottles. Coming from a YouTuber is interested in inks, so you can bet that those inks will do something for us. If you're interested, please take a look at his video, the Wet Pen. 4 new inks for you. So there you have it in terms of other YouTube reviewers that I would recommend. In terms of my own channel, as you know, this week, or last week I should say, we published a video on the X169. Drew a lot of attention, like most of my videos on Chinese pens do. Looks like when I put up a video on a Chinese pen, people go for it. I put on a video on an expensive Italian pen, and there's no views. Having said that, it's a gorgeous pen, as you've seen in my revisited segment. I think it's a good pen at $20. It's a no-brainer. Choose your color. The nibs are really nice. They're very juicy. Even the extra fine, finer medium, as you've seen, produce very, very wet lines. So comes recommended. If you're interested in a detailed review, there you have it. In terms of what's coming up in the channel, some of these recent Chinese pens has kind of taken over what I'm publishing week after week. And now we have that Majohn, the new Majohn N15 that we just take a look at, that I may review this week. I'm expecting the new Majohn and the new Jinao's to come in as well that we just seen. So, we shall see. But here is just a template showing you everything that's in the pipeline that I have yet to publish. We've got a couple of pens from Lotus. We've got that a special video on my M series from Pelican, as well as the 149, 146 comparison. But they will all come eventually. Especially, I'm planning on taking a vacation sometime soon. And if I do, I may very well just slip those in, and maybe one of those longer videos will take a place of a recap, take a couple of weeks off, and I'm sure you'll forgive me for that. So there you have it as to what's new on my channel. And it brings us to an end for this recap. If you haven't subscribed, please do. A lot of work that goes into putting these videos, and all I ask is that you subscribe. It's free, of course, and you'll be notified when one of my videos get published. So there you have it, folks. Have a great week. Enjoy your summer. Enjoy the World Cup soccer tournament. I think it's fantastic stuff. We're down to the wire here. At least today, there's some interesting games. So there you have it, folks. Enjoy your pens, enjoy your inks, and enjoy your paper. Ciao.